I bought this used Wiimote recently for like $1. I don't even have my Wii here, it just sits on my desk. Recently one of you legends requested a video on how to create and define goals, which is prudent because the most enlightened people I know take guidance only from YouTube channels. So if during this video you think,
wait a minute, that's not how I would prefer to live,
entomb that sentiment next to your memories of elementary school pants wedding. For my audience, probably high school. Most people go through life without an explicable set of rules or goals they apply to decisions invariably, myself included. Back in the day, you had philosophies like Stoicism or Confucianism that provided principles to consistently align your actions with your ideals. Religion is similar. Morality might still be gray, but you have core tenets and frameworks to guide your actions. But strictly defined codes are a lot less common today, and if you're like me, you make shit up as you go and hope for the best. There's a famous quote by a Supreme Court justice who, when attempting to delineate what constituted pornography, said something like, I can't define it, but I know it when I see it. I think that's how a lot of us live. We judge situations and choices individually based on gut feelings of right and wrong, other similar events, the perception of those around us, the media we consume, and whatever other factors, but we don't necessarily make decisions with congruent intentionality, which isn't always a bad thing, but it risks becoming the type of person who buys Labubus and also doesn't understand why they're unhappy. Because I think intentionality is imperative for setting goals and living a good life. Now, if you had to incisively define success, what would you say? A certain level of income, a loving romantic partner, owning a home, maintaining a close friend group, staying fit, maybe one day having kids. And if you're just nodding your head and saying, yeah, all those sound good, then you found this video at the right time, you knucklehead. Most how to live your life content I've seen falls into two camps of extremes. Follow your passion. You can be anything you want to be. Get that art history degree with a $200,000 loan. If that's what makes you happy, just have a positive mindset and things will work out. We all die anyway, you can't take wealth with you. Or grind until you die. Making money is the sole source of success. F your interests, f your friends, and if that makes you sad, you can wipe the tears off the leather seats of your Lambo with a Laura Piana handkerchief. Set smart goals, then crush them. And we'll get to careers in a moment, but first let's talk about what really matters. Sub to my new channel, you I'm sitting at like 10 subscribers on King Neo. Are you kidding me? To set meaningful goals, you must first consider what you truly value. I know, revelationary, but it's because you can't have everything. Someone said to our class at the beginning of my MBA, and I still remember this story 100 million years later, so I think it's worth repeating, is that poor people aren't really people, so you shouldn't feel bad taking advantage of them. No, they said you won't always be a good student, and that's okay. Sometimes you have to be a good employee, or a good husband, or father, or caretaker, and you can't be good at everything all the time, so you must learn to prioritize. Fortunately, I had to be good at none of those things, so it was easy for me, but the sentiment remains. Have you ever thought about what kind of impact you want to leave on the world? What kind of life you want to live specifically? Do you care about travel, building wealth, maybe your hobbies, or staying close to your family? You don't have to have immutable, concrete answers to every possible value that exists, but if you've never thought about it, it would be impossible to set goals that matter. What do you want your gravestone to read? The good news is life doesn't actually afford that many choices, so it's less daunting than it seems. When you're contemplating goals on a macro level, micro goals and choices begin appearing within that framework. For example, if you say, I need to work online to be happy so I can live anywhere and travel throughout the year, your career choices become confined. Then you explore the choices within that parochial section of goals and see what appeals to you. I think most people who haven't thought much about what they want or who they want to be default to, well, I just want to be happy. I want to live a good, happy life. Now, I'm not super well versed in happiness literature, and I'm still memorizing the vowel sounds, but I asked Perplexity to hallucinate some academic studies on happiness and give me a chart, and it more or less aligns with what I've heard. Like half your happiness baseline is genetic, then regarding things you can control, relationships are the most important thing, and quality trumps quantity. Money matters, but probably not as much as you think, and good sleep hygiene combined with exercise and diet can't be overlooked. They also say that after a year, people's happiness levels revert to baseline following even crazy life changes like winning the lottery or becoming paralyzed. I guess there's some new research you can review regarding satisfaction versus happiness. It's called the hedonic treadmill if you want to learn more. I'm certainly no expert. But think about moments of triumph or failure in your life. Did beating your friend in Mario Kart make you happy for the rest of time? Of course not. You have to constantly beat them. Please let me leave. So, food for thought. Other than happiness, probably the most common goal I've heard is I want to be rich. As an American, though this mindset is ubiquitous in many countries, it can be hard to decouple wealth from success or happiness. And if you live unintentionally, you may find your goals unwittingly gravitate toward increased wealth or viewing wealth as a measure of success. Not necessarily even your actions, but your goals. But think it through. If your ostensible goal is great wealth and your actions preclude that, you will be discontented with whatever you do have. If your goals and actions align to maximize wealth, that can be okay, but if you don't truly want your stated level of wealth and the sacrifices that come with it, you'll pursue it at great cost for no reason. Because make no mistake, being the top, 1% of anything is not easy. Now, if you're financially insecure, yes, being able to provide for you and your family should probably be your top priority. I'm talking more about increasing your net worth to an arbitrary amount when you're already financially okay because you don't know or haven't thought about what else to do. And I'm pretty sure I've suggested in previous videos maximizing career choices that give you greater income because it affords greater flexibility and freedom. And I stand by that. More money means you can travel more, you can explore more hobbies, take more risks, and if you're still figuring out what you want from life, wealth grants a position of power in that negotiation. But the line often gets blurred, and the things people wish to do with their wealth become put off to chase bigger numbers. They'll travel when they retire, they will see their family next Thanksgiving, they'll get back on dating apps later. You get it. And if your answer to what do I want from life is to be happy, the literature wouldn't suggest skipping every dinner with friends to chase wealth. It's more effective to goon in a dark room by yourself and never see the sunlight. I've met and been close to people who you would consider ridiculously wealthy, and most have not been happy. There are outliers. I haven't met everyone. Don't fucking message me, broke copium needs to make himself feel better. I don't care. I'm just telling you what I've seen at the highest levels of wealth. The richest people are the most afraid of losing what they have and looking smaller than others. They engage in competitions with peers that rely on shifting social capital comparisons to save face. Well, maybe my neighbor drives a better car than I do, but I have more followers on social media. I have more clout. Well, that guy plays professional sports and is bigger than me, but I get more girls. I have more riz. Well, that person has more money in their portfolio, but I have more degrees. I'm more well-read. It never ends. I guess I've been on a tangent, but I want to caution people who might be susceptible to the same trap that I and many others fall into, which is get more money and you'll be happier. But if you're working minimum wage and can't afford to go to the doctor, that's irrelevant. I'll conclude with a quote from Seneca, who said, "Make money, get hoes." Wait, wrong slide. He said, "It's not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Be glad there are people who sacrifice everything and drive innovation, but know that may or may not make you happy. Just make your choices intentionally. Now that we've got that out of the way, what should you value, if not money? How many subscribers you have on YouTube? Wait, maybe in a year or two? Your League of Legends rank? Think about how you spend time. Most people balance a career, relationships, and hobbies, or I don't know what to call it, doom scrolling, self-time. Anyway, look at the major components of your life. Why do you do those things? Are you intentional about who you hang out with, or do you spend time with assholes because you're afraid to be alone? Do you want to lose weight but spend your free time watching Netflix? Have you always wanted to become an entrepreneur but you work 30 hours a week? Identifying misalignments helps ascertain your values. Write them down. See if you notice patterns or can articulate ambitions more clearly. And do this regularly because things change. I've always wanted to write and publish a book. My undergrad degree was in English. My first job was as a writer. But at some point, it became clear that meeting financial needs as an author would be challenging. So I went to business school and got my MBA because my goal was then making money. I didn't care how. After that, I worked as a consultant, which made money but was unfulfilling because for me, it lacked purpose. Years later, I thought about what kind of work I'd want to do and how I'd want to perform it and launched an online business after narrowing down my options. Recently, I went back to school partly because I was interested in the subject and partly as an excuse to travel. And who knows 3 years from now, I still want to write a book. I don't necessarily advise following your passion unless your passion is like medicine, because anything becomes work once you do it for a living. Some people say you never work a day in your life if you love what you do, but I'm pretty sure people who enjoy what they do feel like they've worked a day or two. And that's honestly pretty rare. That said, you can position yourself to engage with your passions by making deliberate choices. And if you're like, well, I'm not passionate about anything, so I don't know what to do, then that's no problem. I would personally select something you're good at or can do and maximize income from that skill set. Then with your flexibility, you can try new things. I didn't really want to record for long today, so I'll end it here. I don't know how helpful that was, but my main takeaway is to reflect and make decisions with intention, not randomly, not because it was easy, not because someone told you it would be a good idea. Own the things you choose to spend your time on, and you'll be happier than if you stumble through life. Everything comes with opportunity costs. Like, subscribe, go to King Neo and subscribe, follow my new Instagram, watch my videos. Peace out.